Rattlesnake Island, Ohio's secret billionaires club that Sarah didn't even know existed. Did
Well,
you know it existed?
well, it's a secret billionaire club, and I never met a billionaire, so no clue.
Me either. I did know about the island. I just didn't know what about it. Welcome back to Talking Trash, the podcast where we dig into weird stories, local mysteries, and things that make you say, "What?" I'm Jessica.
And I'm Sarah, and today we're talking about a tiny island in Lake Erie that somehow manages to be one of the most secretive places in Ohio. So secretive, I just found out about this.
I love that. I love it when I can tell you something new because it's rare. It's an 85-acre island just off of Put in Bay that you see from the water, but you absolutely cannot visit there.
Which makes it suspicious because the second someone tells me you can't go there, my brain immediately is like, okay, but what are they hiding?
So, Rattlesnake Island sits in Lake Erie between the mainland and Put in Bay. Today, it's owned by a very exclusive private club. We're talking about where the membership is made up of some of the richest and most powerful people in Ohio. I don't know why a billionaire would want to live there.
I'm just learning today that we even have billionaires in Ohio.
Yeah. We have that one that's really close to Epstein, isn't it called Wexner, maybe? So there are some. The membership reportedly costs anywhere from $60,000 to over $100,000 just to join. And that doesn't include yearly fees. And the wild part is you cannot apply. So you need two members to sponsor you, and then the board votes.
If you're not already rich and connected, you're not getting in there at all.
Pretty much. It's
Mm,
sad, isn't it? And there's only 60 to 70 members total, which makes it even more exclusive.
insane. And then you still had the nerve to ask me if I've ever been there. Like, what? Of course I have. Don't you remember that billionaire we met? So basically, if I'm paying six figures to join a club, I'm going to expect real luxury. I don't get the name. Like Rattlesnake Island, luxury, it just doesn't go well, in my opinion.
It really doesn't. It does not sound luxurious at all.
If I'm paying six figures to join a club, I expect luxury.
You would think. But the amenities are interesting. They have a small airstrip, because they have to have a landing pad, um, docks for yachts, a clubhouse, and a golf course.
So that sounds normal so far. What
But the golf course is only 4 holes. The final hole is sometimes played down the airplane runway.
Of course it is, because nothing says relaxing golf like dodging private jets trying to land.
Yeah. They said the way that you make it, a half of a course is you play the 4 front and then you play the 4 back. And I was like, that's so stupid.
That's smaller than putt putt.
It is. That's unreal. So the island's history goes back a long way. It was originally named because the island once had Lake Erie water snakes, which people believed were rattlesnakes. But we don't have rattlesnakes here.
Which I swam with one in Put Bay, and I'm wondering if that was the island that we always wondered what it was because we went off the beaten path. I thought Brian was joking. He's like, "There's a snake next to you swimming," and I was like, "Shut up." He's like, "No, I'm serious." I freaked out.
I would die. I'm terrified. Like literally, I would die. Someone will have to come and get me as I go down to the bottom.
It was a black water snake.
Aggressive, I hear. And if I started flailing around, it would probably try to
Oh,
bite me.
I was freaking. Never went back in there again. Never
Yeah,
will.
I do not. People do like kayaking and stuff, and I've always wanted to do that, but I'm terrified because I think there's so many snakes in fresh water. It's just gross.
I can't even handle the smudge on the bottom. I'm not even walking in there.
So, in the late 1800s, in the early 1900s, the island became a luxury resort of sorts for wealthy vacationers. People would take steamships out there for fishing and boating and summer parties.
Basically, the rich people playground thing started early. I always thought that was later days. I was wrong.
If they're talking about steamboats, it's definitely a long time ago.
Yeah.
So now this is where the rumors start. So during Prohibition in the 1920s, Lake Erie was a major route for bootlegging alcohol from Canada into the US. And the islands in the lake were perfect hiding places.
What does that mean?
So it kind of means they have stories that the islands were used by organized crime groups and smugglers to store the alcohol. Some former owners even admitted that rumors about the mobsters were sometimes encouraged because it kept people away from the island during the winter when the lake froze. People could just walk from the nearby islands right on over.
Right. So the strategy was the mafia lives there, stay away or you die.
Yeah. And I probably would have back then because the mafia was scary.
There has to be somebody over the years that snuck there and has a story, you would think.
I would hope so. So, which honestly might be the best keep out sign ever invented because nobody wants to go and be murdered anywhere.
Right.
I'm not sneaking in.
No, no. And that brings up security, I'm sure. Even today, the island has a reputation for being extremely. I
Hmm.
really want to know on the boat to Put in Bay, do you see this island?
I think you have to pass it because there is another story remind me at the end. So, boat captains who get too close say they've been yelled at over bullhorns by security that is hired by the island. So, the club also reportedly uses private patrols around the island to keep the visitors away.
Which, of course, is going to make us even more curious.
Definitely. So, one of the more controversial things reported about the island is the seasonal staff. And some investigations said the island hires young women from Eastern Europe to work during the summer.
Which raised a lot of eyebrows, but I have to say they do the same thing at Put in Bay.
They do. They do. So, according to reports, they were recruited through applications and included photos and personal information. They reportedly lived together in staff housing and shared all of the tips.
Which just sounds unusual for a private island staffed mostly for wealthy male members. Like, fishy.
Yeah, they would pick out beautiful young women. And I mean, honestly, if you think about all the nice restaurants, they always have pretty women working there. I mean, I was watching the other day, the Toledo Club had hosted a wild game dinner. And they had these really pretty young girls dressed in short little black dresses, holding up the photos and going around, So, I mean, that is just kind of what they do.
I mean, look at all
Not
the
that it's right.
sports too. Cheerleaders, you've got
Mhm.
the fights on TV. I mean,
The little cuties with their little signs around too.
yeah. What's
It's
wrong with us?
no one wants to look at ugly people running around. I mean,
I mean,
I don't know.
if
Just
they're
saying.
interesting, I guess it doesn't matter.
That is true. You did get me into the soft white underbelly, even though it totally freaked me out. Way bad. That's a whole nother ball game. So now, naturally, the secrecy has sparked a lot of speculation online. Some people jokingly call it the Epstein Island of the Midwest.
Which, let's be honest, with everything going on, is a very serious accusation. And to be clear, there is really no public evidence of anything like that happening there. But the accusations, it's a little scary at these times.
Very true. So, when you combine extreme secrecy, powerful members, restricted access, and unusual staffing, it definitely creates a lot of rumors.
So, what is Rattlesnake Island really?
Well, it might simply just be what it claims to be a private retreat for wealthy businessmen who want somewhere to fish quietly away from people, golf, and relax so no one sees them.
Which honestly still sounds kind of weird because when rich people want privacy, it always makes people wonder what's happening behind the gates.
What were you saying earlier? And I was like, if we don't talk about it, Remind me.
There's a story about the island. Somebody that knows something or snuck there. Was there?
Okay. So they did say one time they were on the ferry. So a man was hired for the season and he had said that they stopped at the island one time. So he goes, I was on the ferry and they stopped in one truck. They let off at the island and then reverted back to Put-in-Bay. So they were just transporting just one truck there and dropped it off. So I don't know. It does sound very like elusive. Like you just don't get to know what happened.
Now that truck, was it like a Billionaire type of truck or was it like a beat up pickup
They
truck?
didn't say. I was so curious too. It's like I have more questions. I want more details on that.
A truck doesn't sound like the type of car that you'd be dropping off there. I mean, I guess
Unless you
maybe.
need to move stuff from like say one building to another maybe. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
But they
transporting.
do say, that you can bring people to visit and have guests. You just can't be part of the club unless, you're sponsored by 2 members and pay all this money. And I do think that's kind of crazy because I'm thinking if I'm paying that kind of money for something, I
Yeah.
want it to be amazing.
Yeah. And when you do get on there, I guarantee you can't go to some of the spots that the true members go to.
And so I think a member would need to take us there so we can get a better understanding.
Yeah. So if you've got any hookups to Rattlesnake Island, we would love to come. Let
Yeah.
us know.
So next time you're boating around Lake Erie and you see the little island off in the distance, that's Rattlesnake Island.
A place where, unless you're extremely rich and extremely connected, you're never getting an invitation. Except for us. We're going to find ours. You're out there.
Maybe. So, which might honestly be the biggest mystery of all.
Right?
The invitation. All right.
Call me.
So that's the trash.
And that's the truth.